The Niles Essanay Silent Film Museum is known primarily for its silent film screenings with live piano accompaniment. But what remains behind the scenes are thousands of artifacts and films in our ever-growing archival collection. In this series, we are highlighting recently obtained and noteworthy additions to our museum. Work is underway on preparing to capture a high-quality photograph of a new acquisition, recently arrived from having been restored. The acquisition is rare and particular enough to require constructing a support to keep it in place.
I'm losing it. Okay, there we go. Oh, nice. Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah.
We could use the tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the trick is going to be picking it up without undoing everything.
I think it's pretty secure on there, so.
Well, let's try it. Up. There you go.
Emily Barnett is our museum's poster archivist and has spent many hours cataloging our ever-expanding poster collection.
When you want to look at an object, especially an object that could be potentially very fragile or hard to open up out of storage, or not, we don't have the space to have it lay flat, a high-quality image is good to have to reference, especially if there's a researcher, someone who's coming in who wants to do research on the images in our collection, our poster collection. They can look at the high-quality photograph and be able to really get in detail what the image is without having to physically hold the item and potentially damage the item.
Even though this poster differs from the typical Essanay posters in our collection, it was still made with the same antiquated process of stone lithography.
Stone lithography, I could do 5 hours telling you what stone lithography is. Basically, it's the concept of oil and water do not mix. And so you're taking a very flat surface. Stone lithography is literally a stone, traditionally a limestone from Bavaria, this very specific pit in Germany. They don't even get stones out of there anymore. It's completely gone. It's a very fine, porous surface, but it's very smooth. You're going to draw on top of the stone with a very greasy substance, and then you cover it with gum arabic and acid. The acid sets that greasy substance into that stone, the very top layer, and so when you get it wet, the water is repelling away from that greasy substance. You can apply ink to that greasy area, and it will only accept ink in that greasy area, so you're using that to build up ink to make a reproductive image off of this stone. There's other processes now, like offset printmaking for mass production is used, but they don't use stones anymore. They use like metal plates that are printed from a machine. The very start of posters advertising in the United States came from France. Toulouse-Lautrec decided that he was going to make posters for plays and performances in Paris. There wasn't really that kind of advertising before then in Europe, but that was all based off of what they were seeing in Japan. You know, in Japan they made woodblock prints to advertise kabuki actors for hundreds of years before, and they brought that idea over to Paris. That was pretty much right before motion pictures started.
Board member and public relations manager Rena Kiehn can fill us in on this very unusual poster's discovery and potential provenance.
It actually was in a Santa Monica antique store named Jadis Props. And gentleman Stan Taffel, who's involved with several things down at Los Angeles area, saw it when there was a promotion for Christmas shopping during the pandemic. And somebody did a scan of an antique store and saw this little Chaplin head peeking out. So he investigated further and found out it was this poster that had 5 Charlie Chaplins with basically a banner across each saying Essanay. So he knew that we might be interested in something like that. So I contacted the owner. She had just gotten the poster back from a family. A couple had bought it maybe 20 years ago, and their adult son was selling their estate. That was one of the items, and so she had it on commission. So it had actually just entered her store again after 20 years. So then I contacted a supporter of our museum. He was willing to contribute some money towards the project. The next day, he informed me that he was going to be able to pay for the whole poster. It was very nice that he was so supportive and kind to us. It was kind of beat up a bit, and it was literally glued to masonite. Oh my gosh. And it was a very strange length and width. It was, I believe, 57 inches by 79 inches, so not anything standard. We did get some funding from another source for the restoration. Now we just needed to get it 100 miles on this masonite board to Oceanside for the restoration, to get it taken off of the board somehow and put onto linen. I was able to contact John Hillman, who knows so many things about posters, and he offered to drive down and drop off this poster for the restoration. 100 miles, 200 miles round trip. When it was restored, it was then shipped up to us in a tube.
That was rolled up because it's big. It's over 60 inches. These posters are large. Standard now is about 40 inches by 32, but back when it wasn't as standardized, during the silent film era, they could get as big as 41, 42 inches long. We have a very large file cabinet that we put in, and they are kept in folders that are buffered, and I use tissue paper in between them so that there's no damage in these folders. But sometimes they're so large that we do have to roll them up, and so we'll roll them up with Mylar and tissue paper to protect the image so it doesn't get scratched. You keep it loose when you're rolling it so it's not so tight that when you're it's not like opening like a pirate's treasure map kind of thing.
Now, the question is, where did it come from and what's it all about? We talked with experts literally from around the world about what they think it was. The consensus seems to be that they think it was an expo where different film companies and distribution places would be selling their wares. We think it's from the General Film Corporation. It seems like it would be from around 1920 when they were selling Essanay films, but at the same time, the poster is curious.
The images on the poster are derived from promotional photographs taken for In the Park in 1915. The middle image, however, with Chaplin donning goggles and carrying a wrench.
One we think is supposed to be Jitney Elopement, which shows him with a wrench and such. Now in that movie, he doesn't have a wrench. What are these films? They're all from this 1 3-month period that he was here in Niles. It seems like it must be from 1916 rather than 1920 because he had so many more films filmed by that time.
It wasn't long before Emily Barnett gained more responsibilities at our museum.
I'm in charge of the museum's cataloging management system. In the olden days, they'd have card catalogs, right? And so what we have is a digital database of all the items that are in our physical collection, having volunteers and other staff members contribute to it. And then another thing I'm doing is helping get our library in order and documenting what's in our library and covering all our library books with protective covers, that kind of thing. We have a little under 300 posters. This is coming from lithograph posters from very early films all the way to modern reproductions. Stone lithography Essanay posters, we have about 55 or so. And then we have about a handful more that are not for Essanay but are for other silent films that are lithographs.
But her passion and focus remains stone lithography and printmaking.
These posters are so impressive because the process that they're used to be made, people don't do that anymore. So it's not like with the film where you could easily, well, not easily, but you could repair a film or potentially make a copy. With this kind of stone lithography, because they use a photo emulsion process as well, the actors in the posters are from the film, so they're using the emulsion and exposing that film onto the stone. No one does that anymore because we have computers and there's lots of cheaper, easier processes. Like, we can't just make something that looks like it without using modern technology. We also have posters for films that don't exist anymore. It's like this visual of what something in this film looked like that doesn't exist, which is really cool to see.
Well, the more that I see these posters, these original posters made with stone lithography, what I really appreciate about them is the vividness of the color and the medium that was used. It was not meant to last all this time, but we have been able to get some of these posters that are more than a century old and get them in restored. They might as well be just made. And the process is kind of almost like talking Latin nowadays. It's just not something that's normally done. It's such a specialty to have any kind of four-color process.
It is really appealing because of that. This process that people don't do anymore. Like, we're literally, someone took film, exposed it on a limestone, and then mentally remembered colors and then added colors on using the limestone again. And it's this, we don't know the artists' names of the people who made these. These are exquisite, like, beautiful images. They're very detailed and, like, you could tell lots of care and high skill went into them. And the signature behind it is the manufacturer or the union. And the fact that they've lasted this long, that they're intended to be tossed away at the end of the week when the film was being shown, and the new one came in, that I think is like someone took the care. It's like, this is the image we're saving. And then we have it.
That's all for today's episode. Please like and subscribe to keep up with our YouTube channel. The Niles Essanay Silent Film Museum is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in the District of Niles in Fremont, California. Visit our website at nilesfilmmuseum.org. Until next time, thank you for watching.